Well, it's the next morning, and this really stuck really well. Even though it was a little bit clumsy to apply the weldwood rubber cement, it really stuck well everywhere. Really complete, front to back, side to side. So, yeah, that's what I'll use in these cases instead of that nasty double-sided. Now, this side was never came off when it was bought. So, what I just did a few days ago. So I'm going to leave this lower side on there. And this one came off of the old piece, and it sticks well. So there was just bad tape, and I don't like that gooey tape. It doesn't work that well. So we'll use that in the future. It seemed to work just fine. Okay, it's Saturday morning. Probably should have done this Friday, but I'm going to clean this all out because on the left side, on the top and then at the bottom, the tangs that are right here on the air door are going to want to adhere to it. So I'm going to clean everything up and use my contact cement to hold it all in place. It'll come off. I can peel it off later, but with a little bit of effort. But otherwise it just slides out. I need to hold it in place. Nothing else holds this in place at all aside from the actuator on the left side. So I'm going to assemble all this after I clean this, slide this in, glue that to over there, and attach the actuator and then run it. Then I put the heater core in the cover, and we're pretty much running to the end. You can see where the heater core lines come in way on the left over there. That's no big deal. That's right where they enter, and I'll take care of that. And there's one insulating hose I have here left, which I don't know what it went to, but it must have gone in line with. It looks like it went on one of the heater hoses and the other one just got lost. So that's the way it goes. All right. So here it is, fit up in to the outer frame, and you can see these guys here. I did clean them. There's a little stickiness to them, but I'm going to put a little contact cement in there, and I'll just pull this back slightly and do that, and then we'll continue the installation. I also used contact cement on one of these rings. The other one is around here somewhere, but it didn't have splits in 3 places. So this was broken in 3 pieces, but I've already put it together, and it's going to be fine. That insulates it up at the firewall, keeps wind from blowing in. So I definitely want to get those in there and working. Okay, we're going to show you how this works. This is for temperature. So when I turn on the temperature, it will move up. Here we go. This is for warm, moving outwards. That will blow the air through the heater core, which is going to be sitting there in a moment. And we'll bring her back down again. So that's the way it's supposed to work. And you see I have a nice seal, so it's going to close very nicely. And the actuator, with great effort, I bolted down. I have a swivel head 1/4 inch, and that really doesn't work for these when you want to hold force down into the bolt when you're bolting it sideways with the socket drive, the ratchet. Okay, here you see we're partially in there. It's going to be a little tricky, blindsided, to try to shove the heater core the rest of the way in, but that's what we got to do. Get the last 1/4 inch, get this heater core seated, then we can start buttoning this up. Okay, with a little sliding, this actually got in place. It's too dark to show you, but there's a tang on this side. It has to get inside, and on this side, so it's just slightly hanging back now. I'll now put the little insulators I have. There's 2 of them. If I can find the other one, oh, there it is, the second one. So I'll place these in on the firewall side. Oops, let me turn it around. Okay, this is the cover that goes over the heater core. This is the top side. This is the bottom. There is a little crack that somebody's repaired nicely. That's fine. I'm going to clean up this little bit of loose insulation. Everything else seems to be okay all the way up to the top. They've replaced some of it. But in any case, I'm going to do that to make sure that it's nice and sealed and straight, and then I can get the right fasteners and put this thing back in. These top 3 are going to be difficult. They're way up at the top, but I should be able to do it okay. Well, as you can see, I've got it all installed. The one bolt way up in there, there is no
pull forward, I got broken out. I got all the other ones, including that little tiny one. There you go. You can see it right there. Now this is part of the main breather, whatever you want to call it, vent system that blows down into the floor. Somebody put a little adapter because they took this off in order to remove this piece. So I kind of like that. Still kind of a pain to shove all the way back on. It's on there now. Right where that joint is right there, I'm going to put some turn and a half of duct tape, and it can be cut out the next time I ever have to do this, which I hope is never. But, you know, I know how to do it. And then the bolts that go on here are easily enough done. I already checked all that. And then, so there's a bracket that goes on there, and then a front plate, and then the final cover. So I'll do those three things here coming up. Just so I don't skimp on you, here's the bracket that goes in place, and then there's a plate that goes on front. So they all use all the same hardware, which is sitting right there in my magnetic holder. And they're all 8mm heads, so kind of straightforward. So no real brain surgery, but there is the bracket fully installed. Bolts there, there, and there. They're the kind of sheet metal-ish, machine threaded-ish, 8mm headed black oxide screws. Now we put the front plate on, which is located here. And I have to figure out what side and orientation, but I'll do that right away. Okay, last thing I'm going to show you. Let's see if I can get my light in there. Okay, so now you see the two connectors. The top one is 3/8. The bottom one is top one's 5/16. The bottom one is 3/8. So I got those nipped down, put a little grease on them so they'll never come off and seal up against micro leaks. So there you have it, ready to shutter.